Last Friday, Allison Cohn made her status FBF to a pic of me as a pipsqueak. Awkward. It got 59 likes and 12 comments. Impressive, Allie. Geico also has a comment on your Flashback Friday. Did you know Geico has been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years? Bet you didn't even know they made cars back then. And if you think your flashback is awkward, you should see our pic. Hashtag blurry. Hashtag over 75 years of savings.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome everybody, live. This is Under the Mat Radio. Your host, Tech, with co-host.
NSC Game Boy, what it is, what it do.
Yeah, same with our lead correspondent.
I am the sensational one, Shinblade. How's everybody doing with the shot hands?
They're doing well.
Right. Good.
Doing well. You don't sound too excited about the shot hands, NSC.
I know, I got nothing wrong with the shot hands.
Well,
actually,
yeah, you know, I mean, you said a catchphrase. I mean, I got to say it on radio, but I just do it time.
Yeah, that is true.
Mm-hmm.
Does everybody know, thank you for taking time out to listen to this episode of Under the Mat Radio. This episode is entitled, Please Don't Try This at Home. Because coming up, yes, we have reasons for that. Anybody that watches the world of professional wrestling or WWE called it sports entertainment. Yeah, those disclaimers, and please don't try this at home. The title, of course, always goes in line with what we cover. Coming up at the top of the hour, 8 p.m., we will have known wrestling publicists and business stuff. We do apologize for that noise. I'm not sure what that is. Coming up at the top of the hour, we have known
audio.
Yeah, some kind of audio. We apologize. We have known wrestling publicists. Marc Kruskol will be joining us coming up. He's worked all around the world of professional wrestling. And then also we will be covering, of course, the tragedy that happened over this weekend. Of course, with the death that happened in Mexico of Pedro. My lead correspondent, Shinblade, will be going over that. Of course, we'll be going over WrestleMania, which is this Sunday. We'll be going over our predictions and our overview of what we think will happen. And, of course, we'll talk about other news as well. Anybody that wants to call in, please call in at 347-677-1862. Coach, you can follow the show on. Yeah, we did have echo. We do apologize. Let me check a couple of things. We do apologize for that. Anybody listening, if you hear echo, please bear with us. With that, follow us on Facebook at Under the Mat Radio. We have a like page and Facebook page as well. Follow us on Twitter at @tech_UTMR. You can follow NSC Game Boy at
NSC Game Boy spelled correctly.
And you can follow Shinblade on Twitter at
Sensational one, SHINSATIONALONE. I gotta change that.
Yeah. Yes. And then also you can follow us on YouTube, our YouTube page, Under the Mat Radio. You can also follow us on Instagram at Under the Mat Radio. Definitely all one word. And if you ever need to email us at all, please do at underthematsradio@gmail.com. So, NSC Game Boy, of course, y'all was at UWE this past weekend. Give you a chance for a couple minutes. Give everybody an overview of the great interviews that y'all did.
Well, unfortunately, of course, the host Tech had some family business to take care of, but me and the correspondent, Shinblade, we ventured up to UWE this past weekend, and I must say the card was pretty exciting. Some okay matches and also some great matches. Shout out to AR Fox and bringing down the house once again, a 30-minute Iron Man match. Also, he broke his jaw the night before, so he had to wrestle with stitches and everything, and he pulled it off just to show you how grueling wrestling is. You know, the show must go on. 5-time WWE Hall of Famer Booker T stopped by at night, the crowd, and also Al Snow showed up just to show a little head for everybody, and got into a great match. Also, we got some interviews on the YouTube page. Shout out to our videographer, Shinblade, who picked that up. Unfortunately, a lot of the fans was displeased with the entire show at the end. Motorcade came through with motorcycles, revving it up. A lot of carbon monoxide was out in the building, and a lot of fans was very displeased with the ending of the show. Under the Mat have got a chance to interview some of them off air and just get some inquiries and everything, and they were just really displeased about some of the decisions that was made toward the end of the match. I think the world title match. But other than that, it was a pretty decent show. Shinblade, your thoughts?
It was a good show. I have to admit that, like you said, AR Fox and Eddie Smooth was they tore the house down again. And like you said, the motorcade came in. We were sitting right next to Mandy Leon, current Ring of Honor star. And, you know, NXT Game Boy and myself were mad. We're upset at the revving of the engines. And it got to the point where it almost took out our own security. LSR, who we had to go outside and, get some air. So, not to knock anybody, but when you're inside an arena and you have motorcycles for interest, don't rev the engines. Just use sound effects because it's really fucking stupid. You know, you kill kids in there. You have adults who got asthma. You got elderly people who may be on oxygen masks. Excuse me?
Right. So animals see a couple of people sometimes have, seeing our dogs at shows we've been to and already have disabilities and what have you. It's not good at all. So we're glad.
That's a big
LSR
lawsuit for
is
indie
fine.
wrestling.
Right. So let everybody know LSR, Light Skin Ross, is fine. He's back in one piece. Also let everybody know we did have a special announcement to make that Ghetto Tony, yes, with the Gucci ride, he will be back with us on a Saturday as we make it to Pennsylvania for Valley Pro Wrestling. So yes, Ghetto Tony will be back. A lot of fans, a lot of promoters and wrestlers all around have been asking about his whereabouts. So Ghetto Tony will be making his appearance back this Saturday in Pennsylvania. With that being said, too, fans, let you know we did rectify the echo situation, so thank you for being patient with us. We're going to take this time right now to have our lead correspondent, Shinblade, give our official response and statement on the tragedy that happened this Saturday. Once Shinblade is done, we're going to take a moment of silence in tribute to him and his family.
All right. Well, as we all know that there was a wrestler in Mexico working for the Crash Federation promotion that involved AAA stars. His name was Perro Aguayo. He was billed as Hijo del Perro. I can't even say it right. Hijo del Perro Aguayo, and he suffered a bruised spinal whiplash. I think NXT Game Boy told me that. He showed me the video. And apparently, if you see the video, he nearly takes a 619 from Rey Mysterio, but he falls out on the rope. So it's like he tried to miss it, and you hear a gasp over the crowd. And there wasn't medical officials around the ringside. I heard they were tending to someone else, and you see Conan trying to poke him, revive him in the video which and for medical specialists that I know you don't do, and they are Rey Mysterio Jr. And to tell the fans this, and I know Tech and NXT Game Boy are going to say this, but it's completely unnecessary. It was no fault of Rey Mysterio. If you watch the video, these people are wrestled every day and every night at times. They know what they're doing. They get in the ring. Things happen. NXT Game Boy made a point on my road trip video, which will be released tomorrow due to delays from the focus and everything. It was just something that happened in the ring. It was an accident, and I just got news that they had the funeral the day after his death, and Rey Mysterio and Conan was asked by the family to be pallbearers for that funeral. So if the family is bringing peace to the situation, then you all can give peace to the situation. Let it go. It's over now. It's unfortunate that he died. May he rest in peace, and we pray that things like this doesn't happen again or soon.
Yes, indeed.
Sorry about that.
There's no problem, man. Real quick, I just want to give. I pretty much spoke about my opinion on this, and I'm not going to speak on it too much because I want y'all to go check out the Road video, and I pretty much laid it all on the line. But to the fans out there and people, I understand this is dangerous business. That's why this title of the show is called "Don't Try This at Home." You need proper training, and accidents happen. It happens all the time in every profession, from a paper cut in an office building to a gun going off in a cop, a fire main or gas main burst with a firefighter, a plane lights and engine or something fail, whatever. Everything, every job, every profession has a freak accident. And I'm just glad that his family was able to find closure. I hope that Ray, I know this is a very traumatizing thing for any man or woman to be there and suffer that type of experience. And, I hope they all find closure and move on with their life. And honor the man that he was and, his family and the legacy he left behind. So, Tech?
Yes, I'm going to state my quick opinion on the situation after we give a little quiet moment of silence for Pedro and his family. So that being said, we're going to give about 5 seconds of silence for his family in memorial of him, of his wrestling colleague, his wrestling family, and the promotion. Hold on, Shan.
Should we get 10 seconds?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you much. My opinion on the situation is, first of all, we titled this "Don't Try This at Home." Please don't try this at home, because one of the most questions we get asked all the time with doing this show, and of course a lot of the wrestlers get asked, is wrestling real? Is it fake? Reason why people tend to call pro wrestling air quote fake is because it's not a legitimate sport, because the endings are predetermined. Meaning when you watch football, baseball, or basketball, then it's just a sport. The endings aren't predetermined. It just happens. If the Orioles win, they win. If they lose, they lose. In any sports figure, if they win, they win. They lose, they lose. They can't control that. Whereas pro wrestling, the ending is predetermined. So if John Cena wrestles against someone, of course, the participants in the ring know that, okay, at whatever minute mark, John Cena is going to win with this move. With that being said, however, the acts that go inside of that ring, the maneuvers that goes inside of that ring, a lot of that takes a lot of physical abuse. That wrestling ring is not soft. It's not an air mattress. It's hard. I've been in a wrestling ring, and see Game Boy has, so has Shin. We have a lot of friends in the business that worked all over, that you've seen on TV growing up and even now. The ring is very stiff. These athletes risk their lives every day, as often as they wrestle, to perform for us, the fans, and everyone else. So it shows you that you have to be very careful, and it shows you how much they put their lives on the line to perform inside of that ring. Anybody that blamed Rey Mysterio Jr., he had nothing to do with the injury. It was not clearly his fault at all that sadly Pedro passed away. So just want to say that wrestling is a very serious thing. Yes, it's entertainment, but of course their bodies are put on the line. We've seen wrestlers get injured inside of the ring, and we've seen it backstage at events where wrestlers had to get shots or, they hurt their arm or they had to go to the hospital. So, yes, it's a very serious task ahead. So I definitely do thank Rey Mysterio Jr. for being very professional and everyone else for being professional in handling the situation. So we just want to send our condolences to Pedro and his family, definitely for that. So with that, moving on to good news. This Sunday is, as they say, the granddaddy of them all. Or some people say now the grand pooper of them all. A lot of people aren't so excited.
Actually,
it's WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania. Go ahead, Shan.
Actually, Tech, right now it's the redheaded stepchild because nobody gives a crap about the show this year.
Repeat that one more time.
I said, to me, it's the redheaded stepchild because nobody gives a crap about the show this year.
Well, it all depends on how you look at it. A lot of people aren't really all that excited, and then there's some people that really are. So we definitely will have to see. On that
I don't know
what
with 8,000 tickets left.
Well, but then
I don't.
Go ahead, Sean.
I don't know. I don't really know what 8,000 tickets left, and it's like a few days before the actual event happens. I mean, right now, I guess I'm guessing that the only enjoyable thing that I see now is the Intercontinental title ladder match that's going on. It's been entertaining, and I just don't see anything else that I'm wired to watch.
Well, I will say this. Something that goes with wrestling fans in general, even ticket sales, is that a lot of wrestling events and a lot of people paying for tickets tend to wait to the last minute. So even though there are seats that are left over, do keep in mind, I'm pretty sure that a good amount of those tickets will be sold by the time Saturday night comes. And there'll probably be some that's left over when Sunday comes. But WWE will make it their business to make sure that arena is filled by the time the cameras go on.
Free tickets, that's what I call it.
NSC Gamble, your thoughts on this your overall thought, your one word for WrestleMania coming up?
Hoping. my one word for WrestleMania is hoping. Hope is not a word I use often, but I respect the basis of the word and what it stands for. When you hope for something, is a matter of faith, is a matter of stepping out on a belief of something. Hope is the cousin of faith. I am hoping that some of these matches actually live up to some of its hype, even though I know majority of it isn't. I am hoping that it's a surprise at WrestleMania. I am hoping that it does become the greatest spectacle of the year, and it blows away at least some of the critics. Because right now, looking at the card, a lot of people are in disbelief. A lot of people are just numb. And a lot of people just don't care. And with only days from being at WrestleMania, that is the only word I think that is circling around in the WWE is hope. Because a lot of these matches, they look really good on paper, but you got a lot of old versus new. You know what I mean? You got Brock, who's been around for years, versus the young pup. You got The Undertaker, who's been around for years, versus the young pup. You feel me? We got Sting and Triple H. Well, Sting been wrestling long before Triple H, but I mean, they both old. One's older than the other old, so it's old versus young old. You feel me? It's just, besides young
than the
people
other
as far as yeah, exactly. You know, the Andre the Giant Memorial and of course the Intercontinental Ladder match, which I think is definitely going to be one of the top matches. I don't think it's going to steal the show though. I think it's going to be the top match though. I still got my hopes on Bray Wyatt and Undertaker. I think that match actually steals the show. I just have a feeling.
Well,
you know.
Yeah, we'll go through that one by one momentarily.
No problem.
You know, my side of the view is a little different. Granted, WrestleMania may not be shaping up to a lot of people as they think it should. And I do agree with that. This WrestleMania, definitely, I'm always excited for Mania. Some Manias deemed to be built up a lot better than others, of course. This Mania isn't one of them, with the exception of a couple storylines. But do remember that in the wrestling world, with us being aside, with the IWC, the Internet Wrestling Community, we can't ever please them. They're never happy. I mean, let's remember what was the main event for last year's Mania.
Orton versus Batista.
And what happened? People were crying. They were sniffing and snot. And what happened? Daniel Bryan came in. They still was crying. And then what happened? Boom. What was the main event before WrestleMania? What was the main event for WrestleMania 29? Rock and Cena again. People was crying about Rock and Cena. What was the main event before WrestleMania 28? It was Rock and Cena. He was mad about that. So, granted, some of those previous Mania. Some of those previous Manias, yes, and Mania 27 with the Miz and Cena, which we're not getting into that.
That never happened.
It didn't. Some of those Manias has been built up a lot better than this one. But like Jim Ross has said before on our show, and I've even said, I'm gonna wait till Sunday to see how it play out, because I'm sure there'd probably be a few bright surprises. And as much as fans online, on websites, on our page, or over, has been talking about this is going to be the WrestleMania history, no, because there's always WrestleMania 9, and there's always WrestleMania 11, and WrestleMania 15. So let's see how this play out first. But I will agree that this WrestleMania has not been built. They didn't build this up as much, or I feel as best as they could.
As long as they don't
is LL Cool J going to help Ward to build up?
No, he's hosting.
Yeah, I mean, where the LL Cool J come from? DLC LL Cool J? Look at his lip, his little head. Yeah, WrestleMania. Where did you come from?
Well, Tech, I have to say that with LL Cool J, like back in 1985, he was a rapper, a hip hop artist. Now it's 2015. Besides, what's the show? NCIS. He hosts everything.
Los Angeles.
He hosts the Grammys. He hosts the. He don't host the Oscars. He hosts the Grammys. He hosts every award show on CBS. And being that WrestleMania is in California, they had him
CBS though.
Huh?
Yeah. WrestleMania isn't shown on WrestleMania isn't shown on CBS though.
You didn't hear my other point. I said,
no idea.
Being that oh Lord. Well, you had a point about I was on Twitter yesterday, even when we went up to PA for UWE, and people were just like killing Rey Mysterio, like they were crucifying him. And even though we made that statement, right now to the IWC, this is a Shin Dumps moment or Shy Dumps moment, if you want to hashtag it. Kill yourself for not knowing facts,
But do you remember
that one too with facts? Kill yourself.
Yes, definitely. Back to WrestleMania for that. A lot of people aren't really happy. Really, Shanna, you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. And it's a Game Boy. One match. When you think of WrestleMania 31, before we go by match, that you feel excited about, and why?
Well, I'm not going to say I'm excited. I'm just more. I'm curious because, of course, Sting, his first time in the WWE, I just don't think that match is going to be well. I think it's going to be all right. I think it's going to be all right. Honestly, the match that I'm really looking forward to, believe it or not, is Bray Wyatt and Undertaker.
Make you feel tingly inside?
No, no, it makes me feel tingly inside. No, I think that the Undertaker is really going to make up for last year, and he's going to come in there and he's going to try to steal the show with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt and them. It's going to be. A lot of people are not expecting this. They want to see Brock, and I'm a Brock Lesnar fan, and of course Sting going to be there. And all. I really have a feeling that Bray Wyatt and Undertaker is going to steal the show. That's just my opinion. How about you, Shin? What you think?
Promo wise, Bray Wyatt and Undertaker are, I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna see Brittle Bones versus the Eater of Worlds. Other than that, it's the ladder match, and also shout out to Toph, who had the picture of Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns at the Raw last night, fighting over Eggo waffles. That was funny.
Yeah. So what match are you anticipating the motion? Is it Brittle Bones against Bray? Is it Roman Reigns? Ladder match, okay.
The ladder match, you care less. Right now, we know that Cena's going to beat Rusev, and Rusev has his grand entrance like Rocky or something. So, yeah. I don't know.
I think it'd have been hard if they actually reenacted the Rocky 4 scene, having him train and running around and having John Cena like outside chopping wood and stuff and like training in a barn or something. You know what I mean?
NXT Game Boy. That actually is happening, but WWE.com is not going to show that. Nikki Bella is playing Adrian, his wife.
Yeah, it is. Even in the background, the Rocky IV training montage is for sure that John Cena and Rusev is training for right now. Lana's disappeared just like Bridget Nelson did in Rocky IV to the match.
You know what she's in real life, right?
Yeah, we do. And do you know on WWE.com, if you go there, they actually have a training montage of Rusev.
Really?
Of him lifting weights and doing chest press. Look it up. So they'll let you know.
I ain't been on WWE.com since 06.
Well, you need to step your game up. Yeah.
Well, the site sucks. So shout out to Mandy Leon, who's on that website. They put a little feature on her and Renee Michelle.
Mm-hmm. So with that, we're gonna go match by match real quick for WrestleMania 31. Kicking off WrestleMania is the Fatal 4-Way match for the WWE Tag Team Championship. It will be Tyson Kidd and Cesaro versus The New Day. And actually, the New Day is 3 guys, but apparently they're showing it's going to be Kofi and Biggie Langston versus Los Matadores and against the Usos. So, NXT Game Boy, who do you think is going to come out in this match, if you even care?
I really don't know. I'm going to say it will probably be Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, just because they look like a better team than the other 3. I know one of the Usos is hurt. I think it's Jimmy. I think Jimmy's still hurt. And the New Day. Why would they give them the title? Just really. And the last one is just
Los Matadores.
That's what you call a whole bunch of bull, anyway. So
this is a very ethnic match. You got you got a Canadian, you got someone from Switzerland, you got Puerto Ricans acting like they're Mexicans, and then you got Samoans. Don't forget the what was the match last night? The interspecies match. that he had. That's what he called it with the bull. Yeah, with the bull.
Don't talk about that. Don't.
Yeah, bully that.
Oh.
Like in the game we say, I think Tyson and Cesaro will go over and still keep their tag championships. It is said that this isn't the first time that the tag team belts has kicked off Mania. So it'll be good to actually see the tag belts make it on an actual WrestleMania show. But Vince McMahon never was a big fan of the tag team match. So, Shen?
You forget last year. You forgot about last year.
What about?
Last year they were on the kickoff show too.
That's what I said. Yeah, is that the tag titles aren't making it on the actual WrestleMania card. They're on like the pre-match, the pre-game show.
Well, the titles look like pennies. What do you expect?
Yeah, they do. They do. Real quick, who do you think is going over in this match?
I have to go with Masters of the Universe, Cesaro and Kid, fact. But other than that, if you want to make a title change, give it to the Usos with Jay being injured. You know that's not a good choice. Because if the New Day wins, then all black people going, the NAACP gonna riot or something. I don't know.
Well, the way y'all talking, I don't even know if they really gonna see it. Because no one cares about this WrestleMania. What people are saying. Getting the bathroom break matches out the way. AJ Lee and Paige, Divas tag team match versus the Bella Twins. I'll probably be going to the bathroom on this to get some more food. AJ Lee and Paige, I believe, become victorious. The Bella's been strong for the past few months, so might as well give it to AJ Lee. Not sure really who cares about this match. I really don't. But NFC Game Boy.
Did you see Raw?
I got a feeling somebody else is gonna step in this match. A new face or old face we haven't seen in a while for this women's match. So I think that the Bellas is finally going to lose it because I think they're getting into acting a lot more. So they're going to be off of camera for a while. And giving it to AJ Lee is the most smartest thing. But I think it's going to debut a new face on to the scene in the women's thing. I haven't got the word from anybody. It's just a feeling I got. So, that's just how I feel.
Yeah, definitely. Believe we have a caller. Area code 410. Welcome to Under the Mask Radio. Area code 410.
Hello.
Yes. Yeah, actually, you turn your station down a little bit. We hear echo. Can we ask who this is?
You guys there?
T-Storm.
Hey guys.
T-Storm.
Hey, what's going on, man? How you living?
Sorry, we were saying the echo. T-Storm, please hold. We'll bring you back on if you can turn your headphones down so it won't be a big echo on the phone. We'll get back to you, T-Storm, in a second. So, the Page match. NFC Game Boy, real quick. You think someone new is going to come in. Who do you think is going to come into this match?
I don't know. I really don't care. I just have a feeling that they're going to debut something new because they need something else in the Divas division to kind of spice it up. I haven't read anything or no one's told me anything. It's just how I feel.
Okay. Sorry, real quick. Shen, real quick, who wins?
Well, this is the Facebook match for me. This is a tag match, right?
Yes.
I give it to AJ and Paige, or I feel a turn coming on, like after what happened on Raw. So, but me personally, I give it to AJ and Paige over Booby Bella and Flat Bella. So, they also teasing on Total Divas that they might not re-sign. So I give it to them. But who knows? Who cares? This is the Facebook match.
A match that nobody really cares about either. WWE really didn't even promote. But do you remember that we saw this match about 3 weeks in a row? Is Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins.
Really, dude?
NFC Game Boy.
I'm going to give it to Seth Rollins because, what else can I say? I think that Seth Rollins, he needs to win. Orton, he's won at WrestleMania. Matter of fact, I think he beat CM Punk at WrestleMania before. Am I not right?
27.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, I was there. So, yeah, I think Seth Rollins needs this more than Randy Orton does. So, I'm going with Seth Rollins.
Hey, Shin.
I'm going for an RKO out of nowhere, like his shirts that are selling like hotcakes. Like NXT Game Boy said, Seth Rollins need to pull one out. Shout out to Adrian Bliss. Yeah, you saw that video.
Yeah, we're not going
there. All right. Well, anyway, I hope Seth Rollins goes over, but I give it to Randy Orton. Because the Authority thing is looking like a daycare center.
Well, in my viewpoint, after go against the NXT Game Boy, Randy Orton has to go over in this match. I mean, Seth's been on top. Seth's really been untouchable if you think about it. And you bring Orton back, and you got to have Orton win to put him over. Seth really doesn't have anything to lose. Just so we can see this match again for the 8th time. See it the first time again. And because they're going to face each other for the next 2 or 3 months. It's going to be Orton and Seth Rollins at Payback, and then the pay-per-view after Mania, then probably SummerSlam in a cage match, and perhaps Survivor Series in a 30-minute Iron Man match. So this won't be the end of the feud. This feud will probably go on for a while.
Yep.
Say it again for the 8th time. Next match, I know NXT Game Boy is excited about this. Hopefully Shin can wake up a little bit yawning a lot. Is the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. NXT Game Boy. I know you're very excited about this match.
Honestly, I was there live last year, and I really didn't see the Andre the Giant Battle Royal until the very end. I missed the whole match. I didn't see it until I got back home and watched it on the network. I was going around getting shirts and stuff and everything. So, yeah, I may actually get to sit down and see this one, and, yeah, I don't know what else to really say. Excuse me. As far as who I think winning, I don't know. It don't really matter to me because all you get is a trophy. It's not like you get an opportunity for a belt or anything because why would they do that when they got the Royal Rumble, But it would be cool if they put a stipulation where whoever wins get to go after any belt they want besides, like, the world title. It would be cool, like, if you want to go after tag titles or the Intercontinental or whatever, kind of like Money in the Bank, but except you have to pick right there what belt you will go after. If they would add that stipulation to it, of course you can't go after the world belt because that's what Royal Rumble's for. But I think it would be more an incentive to wonder who will win because they can go after certain belts, and it would bring, a light back to the other belts that's in the Federation that people forgot because, they want to combine and stuff anyway. But Shin, what's your thoughts?
Zack Ryder winning for some reason. I personally really don't care. I mean, I think the Andre the Giant Battle Royal lost its prestige, with all the interest because it's really like who is getting the push. I mean, the only thing the story is Kane and Big Show, whining like little babies again, like I said. But I don't care. Even this year, the statue looks plastic compared to last year. That's how much WWE cares about it, and it gets to the point where I think Andre, if he was actually buried, he's spinning in his grave. So, I like Battle Royals, but I don't know who's going to win, so I'll just throw out Zack Ryder, even though I'm wrong. Tech?
Okay. One note to remember about this Battle Royal is that Sheamus, from inside reports I'm getting and also online, Sheamus is expected to return in his Battle Royal, probably come back as a heel. Also, Miz, Ryback, Curtis Axel, Axelmania, Primetime Player, Zack Ryder, Adam Rose, Fandango, Big Show and Kane, Sin Cara, Eric Rowan, Goldust, Heath Slater, Mark Henry. So it's at least about 17 superstars. They probably have some random DLC content also.
don't forget there's a tournament held that weekend for NXT, so the winner of that tournament has a spot.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. So, who wins this? Like I said, I really don't care about this match per se. I would love to see Curtis Axel win to kind of put him over as Axelmania. He's finally finding his niche, and he's finally has something going to where people actually invested in him and actually like his, like his character. So hopefully Curtis Axel wins, even Mizdow, definitely. But no, on WWE, they're not going to do that. They'll probably give it to Sheamus, like Sheamus really needs it, or Monday.
He's coming back.
Players won't win.
He's
coming
back.
You know that for sure.
Sheamus, I think he cut all his hair off.
I don't know. By the way, is anybody a fan of Sheamus? Dynasty Game Boy, you a fan of Sheamus?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Shannon, you a fan of Sheamus?
I was when he first came out. When he was a super heel.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on from that real quick, we had the Intercontinental Championship ladder match, which features Daniel Bryan, Stardust, Dolph Ziggler, Luke Harper, Dean Ambrose, R-Truth, and the IC champion, Wade Barrett. And with that, real quick, we're going to bring in our man, Toph. You there?
Hey, guys, what's going on? What's up?
Hey, buddy.
Toph.
Hey, Toph, how you doing, man?
We're going to bring
everybody
in
doing
Toph
today?
real quick. We're doing
We
well.
good, man. We good.
We're going to bring you real quick. We're about to discuss the IC Championship ladder match in about a minute under. Give your thoughts on this match and who's going to go over.
Who goes over, it doesn't matter. It's like playing hot potato or a coin, flipping a coin. This will probably be the opener. I'll go ahead and give it to Daniel Bryan, just as a consolation prize, I guess. My thoughts on the match is stupid, and that's pretty much all I got to say about it. So,
Anderson Game Boy, real quick, your thoughts?
Now, I think that Daniel Bryan is definitely going to win. I feel as he needs to win just to please all the IWCs and everything, because they already fucked up as much as they have. So, this is the best way to put a Band-Aid on the gash, kick you while you down. Like, oh, yeah, we're going to give your boy the belt, too. Just not the one he deserves. So, that's my thought.
Okay, Shen, real quick.
R-Truth. No, I'm kidding.
So was them. So was his.
They're burly bag of his.
Yeah. Thank you, Toe, for that meme last week. Daniel Bryan is going to be the favorite to win. I like Ziggler to win or Dean Ambrose, but it's not going to happen. And plus, there have been rumors speculating that they're going to give Daniel Bryan the belt to restore credibility to the title, because I'm jumping ahead a little bit, because they say Lesnar's going to win and he's going to go away and they're going to build the U.S. and Intercontinental titles up. But, Vince lost his damn mind, so we'll move on from that.
Right. My viewpoint, I give it to Daniel Bryan. As much as they've been pushing Ziggler, the fact that Ziggler has had 2 straight clean victories over Daniel Bryan, they're going to give it to Daniel Bryan to win. That is my viewpoint. And I believe it was Shin or Toph that said this probably be the opener. It probably will be.
Toph.
Yes, Toph. Going on to Rocky IV. Rocky against Drago. Captain Full Cage John Cena versus Rusev. NFC Game Boy, since I know how much you're interested in this match. Rusev versus Cena. Who do you see coming out?
No comment.
This Tylenol for your match?
Really, no comment. I'm pretty much not going to watch this match anyway, because I'm going to be running around doing stuff. I'll probably go get some food or something at that time. I'll probably go get some food. It's a stadium, so, I'll probably be on my phone or something, Facebook and, something. I have no interest in John Cena in any of his matches.
And
so I have no interest in this match. Yeah. At all. So no comment.
So.
Yeah, man, if you noticed, Rusev's been wearing suits lately. He's getting ready for that funeral. So, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't usually drink, but I don't usually
Damn.
drink, but I think I'll pour one for Rusev this Sunday. So.
What you gonna pour for him? Apple juice?
No. I'll get some. No. I'll get some tequila. You know, some actual drinking this time. WrestleMania one night. You know. Yeah. What happens at WrestleMania stays at WrestleMania. More so for Rusev.
Yeah, some of that Toph tequila. Shin.
Who cares? This will be a bigger shocker if Rusev wins. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it happens, but we know that's not going to happen.
He won't.
To me, that'd be the shocker of the night.
Is there any doubt that Captain Full Case is going to win? I mean, we all saw it happen on Raw. Rusev got the upper hand on Cena. We all know every time Cena wins a match, if you notice, more times than not, if it's the go-home show before the pay-per-view, or anybody that's not sure what that means, if it's the Raw before the pay-per-view, normally Cena gets his tail whipped. Whereas Saltine says you're going to get your butt whipped. That's what happens to Cena. And normally, Cena comes out winning. This will happen. Everybody a bull. NXT Game Boy, you're probably on his phone or doing what have you, getting some of them nachos that he loves. No one really cares about this match at all. Real quick,
I'm going to be there live and I don't care. Just to show you.
Real quick, honorable mentions to King Degree. And King Degree, shout out to you. Your throne is definitely waiting for you. We actually promoted him to a gold lever with the little notches so it can go up a couple of levels for height requirements. King Degree says that it's been 11 years since John Cena actually wrestled for the U.S. title, which was WrestleMania 20, which he defeated Big Show. So that's King Degree's add-on to this match. He doesn't care about this match either. And also, shout out to the Chuckster, who says who really cares about this match. We all know that Cena's going to win. Say it again for the 8th time. Cena's pretty much getting demoted, and just for Cena to win the belt again by the summertime. So that's what Chuckster says. So even yes. Next match, the match that NXT Game Boy seriously is looking forward to. We have The Undertaker, however he's going to look, against Bray Wyatt, which a lot of people are believing this is the match that's going to steal the show. I'm very much looking forward to this match. Start off with Game Boy. What's your thoughts of this match? And the good question is, with this match, more than any other match, you actually can have an argument of who's going to win. So, NXT Game Boy, your thoughts of this match and who's going to go over?
Well, before I say that, let me just say something. FYI, last year at WrestleMania, when John Cena was going against Bray Wyatt, I caught the middle to the end because I was just getting back to my seat for doing various other things, for watching the damn show. But anyway, I noticed that the match was actually somewhat entertaining. It wasn't great. It wasn't good. It was somewhat entertaining. And what I learned was that Bray Wyatt was actually making John Cena look somewhat believable, even though he lost. I thought it was stupid. But anyway, fast forward to now. You know, you do not know who's going to win. You know, The Undertaker no longer has the streak. Bray Wyatt is on a rampage with these great promos and stuff. And, you know, we haven't seen The Undertaker and God knows when. So, you know, the point of it is that,
last year's Mania,
like you said, it's up in the air. So I think this is going to be the match of the night. I think it's going to steal the show. I will hope that Bray Wyatt wins, to what I've been saying for weeks, that The Undertaker should lose, have 2 losses, back-to-back WrestleManias. Next year, you wrestle Sting, finally defeat Sting next year at 32, and retire and ride his rolling bike into the sunset. But that's my synopsis of that match.
Okay. Shane, quickly.
I think it's just going to be all theatrics. I mean, Bray Wyatt versus John Cena, to me, was one of the most awkwardest matches I've ever seen. I mean, it was just like no acting from Cena when Bray was doing all the acting. So I don't think lightning can strike twice, so I think Taker's going over.
So?
I think Taker's going over. One thing that sometimes when you have wrestling, when you watch wrestling, particularly a big show like WrestleMania, one thing that can really help you is if you watch it with a casual fan, because a casual fan is going to notice things that hardcore fans like us are not going to notice. And one of the things that my girlfriend pointed out to me last year during the build-up to WrestleMania 30 was Brock Lesnar had that shirt that had Eat, Sleep, Break the Streak, Repeat 21-1, an actual T-shirt. And because it was an actual T-shirt, she told me that she thought Brock Lesnar was going to win just because they marketed it. And I was like, okay, that was really random. And then turns out Brock Lesnar, he beat The Undertaker. And, the 21-1 thing is a legit marketing thing. This whole Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar thing, they keep saying, are you going to be the one that's going to beat the one in 21-1? So, they've already marketed it. So if Bray Wyatt beats him, it'll be 21-2, which would basically make everything Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar's been doing for the past year virtually pointless. So just based off that, Taker can only lose once, and it's not going to happen again. So I think he's going over.
Okay, good point. Audible mention to the lightning bolts and all them theatrics that WWE used and stole from the Highlander TV series, if you remember that he used last night on Raw and everywhere else. Toph, good point. I originally was going to say Bray was going to go over, but with you saying that, I'm changing my idea. Undertaker will go over in this match. Sadly for Bray Wyatt, this will be his second Mania in a row that he's going to lose. But as a wrestling legend, Ric Flair once said, wrestling isn't really about wins and losses. Either way, Bray Wyatt will get a rub because not only did he go against Cena at last year's Mania, now he's going against Undertaker. So I think Undertaker will win. And also, it would be really cool to see Undertaker's entrance and Bray Wyatt's entrance because those two characters parallel each other very well and it has similarities, so I'm really excited for that. Moving on to, of course, Sting versus Triple H, the franchise, the icon, WWE cousin, the Vigilante. Shout out to the Bobby Shmurda Crow that Sting uses on his Titantrons against the game Triple H. Interesting fact, this is the first time in a long time that I remember that Triple H has yet to get the upper hand on Sting. Normally Triple H at least gets the upper hand at some point. Triple H has yet got the upper hand on Sting at all. Triple H has been death dropped twice. For some reason, he can't get it up on Sting at all. So my viewpoint of this match could shock. I don't think this match is going to be bad. It probably won't be as good as it could have been maybe 10 years ago. But, of course, Sting is going to go over, of course, to set up things for Sting against Undertaker next year. It'd be pretty cool that this year's WrestleMania would be the first time in history, WWE history, that Sting and Undertaker be on the same card, in the same building at the same time. So it'd be kind of interesting to know that. But I say Sting's going over in this match. NC Game Boy?
Yeah, we all know Sting winning. It makes no sense for him not to win. So, yeah, Sting's winning. I can't give you no reason, but it just makes sense. If
Sting
he
wins
was to lose, I wouldn't understand. But he's winning.
Shen?
If Rusev doesn't go over, I feel this is going to be the shocker, and I think Sting would lose for WWE to piss people off. But I'm going for Sting.
Toph?
Yeah, Sting will win. Just like he'll win tomorrow, too, in the debate.
Yeah,
Actually, Tech, there's been a lot of comments that laid on the the Matt fan page about this Triple H and Sting debate. I mean, people about to go in on it. So for those who are listening tonight, yeah, they're going ham. They're getting it in. So for those who are listening, please tune in tomorrow because I'm expecting a horde of calls to come in.
What's going to happen tomorrow is we're going to get a squash match. Remember how Goldberg used to go out there and just kill people in like 2 seconds? That's what's going to happen tomorrow to Triple H.
Yes.
I'm going to verbally kill his career. So
you're going to kill David Hero's idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Oh, sorry, David. Well, he's not on the line. Well, I wouldn't care if he was anyway. I'm gonna kill Triple H. So.
I spoke to David last night. David Hero is very much excited. To remind everybody, real quick, tomorrow, special time, special date, special time, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow, special DLC edition, DLC episode of Under the Mask Radio, the franchise versus the game, the debate, who had the best career, Sting or Triple H. We'll have David Harrell will be on the show from Pro Wrestling Report. He sides with Triple H. Toph will be on here, co-correspondent. He'll be representing Sting. I will be on here, and it's a Game Boy. The show is going to be a big uproar on Twitter and Facebook as this is going on for this debate. So, yes, please tune in tomorrow, 2-hour special, Sting versus Triple H, who had the best career. Also, I'm going to break news. Breaking news is next month, which is April. April's debate, and it's already been confirmed with me and David Hero, will be Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Hulk Hogan. Who meant more to the WWE and to pro wrestling history?
Really?
That will be the big debate for April. It will be Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Hulk Hogan. Who has the bigger name? Who supported WWE the most? Who helped WWE and Vince McMahon? And that, my folks, will be one of the biggest debates that we will feature at all. So moving on from that. Also, another interesting note to see those entrances with Sting, NXT Game Boy. Everyone else pretty much hates the new Sting music. It would be kind of cool if he goes back to the old to the old music. It was interesting to see that entrances. And lastly, will be the main event. Brock Lesnar, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, against Roman Reigns. And it's a Game Boy. Who's winning?
Come on now, you already know I'm a Brock Lesnar fan. I was on Brock last year when he was won against The Undertaker, and I won that one. So, of course, I want Brock Lesnar to win. I can't stand Roman Reigns. I have no faith in him or his wannabe mic skills and his stumbling and whatever. He's probably the Samoan Hope, and I just hope he loses. So I'm going with Brock.
The Great Samoan Hope?
Yeah, Samoan Hope. Yeah, the new hashtag, Samoan Hope. Hope he loses.
Okay, Shinblade.
Paul Heyman.
Oh, that is interesting. Paul Heyman's going to be the real winner?
I believe Paul Heyman's going to win, regardless.
How about the two participants that's actually going to wrestle in the match?
Moving on.
Okay, Toph.
Yeah, what's going to happen is Seth Rollins is going to cash in mid-match, and they're going to turn it into a triple threat. But then Tupac's going to make a run-in, and he's going to screw over Rollins. Then after that, I'm serious.
Is he going to come out too?
Yeah, so the Tupac's going to run in, the Big is going to run in. It's going to be a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, when the dust settles, Brock Lesnar will have F5'd everybody, you know. So he won't F5 Pac though, you know, California privileges, you know. So
exactly.
You think Suge Knight gonna be there to celebrate?
Suge Knight, he's gonna be the first one to go. He'll be the first one to get F5. He'll probably get F5 like 3 times, you know.
Yeah, I heard he got F5
that crooked police force
at $25 million.
Mm-hmm. Benny Siegel's gonna run it. Yeah, Benny Siegel's gonna run it. Also, the whole State Property cast, Dame Dash, all of them.
then the WWE re-signs Rey Mysterio. So
and then P Diddy is gonna be on the Titantron. He's gonna cut a promo saying tomorrow night.
Please.
I just repurchased Death Row.
And let's not forget NXT Game Boy's favorite, Flo Rida's going to also make a run in.
He'll come out with his shirt off and singing.
Statue's going to come to life like Snoop Dogg or something.
Shout out to Lil Swain, who mentioned about Tupac's 24-centimeter arms on Raw last night, who he actually might make a run in too.
That
was Snoop Dogg, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Snoop Dogg.
What about his outfit?
Now,
the Crip outfit that he had.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was. I'll say Brock, real quick. I'm a little tossed in this. I would say Brock will go over in this match because he just stated that he made his new contract. Do you keep in mind of this? If Daniel Bryan wins the IC title, and of course we know Cena wins the U.S. belt, but if Daniel Bryan wins the title, that pretty much will show the fact that I believe that'll be foreshadowing that Brock will defeat Roman Reigns at Mania since he re-signed.
If Rusev, and then the chances of this happening is very low, because the thing is, WrestleMania is very, very rare for heels to walk out as champions. I don't know exactly how many heels have walked out, but it's very rare. I know technically Lesnar's a heel here, even though Reigns is going to get booed. But if Rusev, if he somehow beats Cena, if that happens, I don't think it'll happen. But if Rusev somehow beats Cena, I'm going to panic. Because that would be like the heel shocker, because so many folks are just like, yeah, Cena's going over. But like if Rusev goes over, there's like your heel dominant champion right there, and I could see somehow Lesnar losing. But I don't think Rusev is winning here. I think it's pretty much anonymous that everyone thinks he's gonna, lose. But that's kind of my foreshadowing right there.
And like you said, to your point, that would be a good surprise. And let's not forget too about WrestleMania moments. So if they throw a curveball and have Rusev defeat Cena, that would be a big shocker. Like Toe said, if Rusev does defeat Cena, pretty much know that Reigns will defeat Brock. I honestly don't believe that Seth Rollins will cash in the Money in the Bank. I believe it will just be Brock and Reigns. Also, don't forget, what about Paul Heyman? So let's rewind real quick. And right before we do this, we'll bring in publicist Marc Kruskol to get his viewpoint. Let's rewind real quick to 2003, I believe, is when Heyman was also Brock's manager, and he was going against the Big Show. And Heyman kept saying, you can't beat the Big Show, you can't beat the Big Show. And what happened? Heyman traded on Brock. 2002, I'm sorry. Traded on Brock, and Big Show defeated Brock. So I believe another good serve is that who's to say Heyman will trade on Brock, side with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns defeats Brock, gives Brock a reason to disappear for a while, like he normally does with his part-time contract. That would be kind of cool, but we'll see. I like the fact that this is the main event with Brock re-signing with WWE. I like the fact that it's not cookie cutter to where, okay, we can say, well, we know he's going to win. It could go either way. And also be interesting, too, to see with Raw after Mania, which is a big event, of what swerve or what big event that they'll do, too. That's when I feel Seth Rollins probably cashing the Money in the Bank. But with that being said, we're going to bring in now our guest at this time. Great guy, good buddy of ours, and supporter of us, pro wrestling publicist, Marc Kruskol. Welcome to Under the Mat Radio.
Well, and thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity and the fun, especially with all the news. I mean, today, great, interesting news. Past few days hasn't been so great, but hopefully we'll get some more positive things going on.
Yes. Now, Mark, we got you on real quick. If you don't mind giving a quick introduction of to let everybody listening know who you are and what you do in the world of pro wrestling and entertainment.
Absolutely. Well, not a whole lot, but I have fun doing it. I've actually been a publicist for around 15 years or so. I started at Sony Pictures Entertainment, working on feature films, went to work at a PR firm, opened my own, and I've been a lifelong pro wrestling fan, and that's a pretty long life. So I've been able to let these worlds collide. And my pro wrestling clients are really labors of love. If you look at the checks that I get, or usually don't get, but that's fun because it's fun. I've represented currently or in the past Christopher Daniels, Rob Schamberger right now, if you don't know, he's the pro wrestling artist in the world. He has painted just every pro wrestler you can imagine. He's in the middle of his champions collection of every world champion. He just completed, I believe it's completed, his WrestleMania collection, and he painted a WrestleMania last year, and he will be at WrestleMania Access this year. And what's great about it is he's outside of the entrance of Access, so you don't even have to pay to go. You can just talk to him, watch him. He's going to be painting an incredibly wonderful painting of Macho Man Randy Savage, who I'm sure you know is being inducted into this year's WWE Hall of Fame. So other clients of mine have been Austin Aries and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and Paul O'Brien, who wrote the Blood Red Turns Dollar Green series of books. Let's see, Michael Kingston, who is the guy behind Headlock Comics. So lots of pro wrestling. Also, psychiatrist Dr. David Reese, who was an expert on the mental health effects of physical trauma, including concussion. Nice. So that's anything from pro football to pro wrestling. And I've got a few other things, like I said, independent films, an NAACP Image Award nominee, the top criminal defense lawyer in Los Angeles, so all kinds of different folks. I know you said short, but I guess that wasn't very short.
Nah, you're the man of the hour now. You fine. We definitely, I want to say we were good friends with those guys, especially Dr. David Reese. We had the honor and opportunity to do some work with him on radio and also when we were on TV in Madhouse Studios with Evan Ginsberg in New York. We got had the opportunity to do some video work with him and be on a show with him. Of course, me and you talked beforehand. You broke the big news of let me know before most people knew that Brock re-signed with WWE. You being a publicist, let me know your opinions of Brock re-signing with WWE and your opinions of WrestleMania coming up.
Well, first, I have to say about WWE, I haven't always agreed with everything they or their PR team has done, but that being said, and as I put on my Twitter page, their PR team is absolutely fantastic. They are everywhere, and I'm talking mainstream stuff. Yes, people like me and others could probably get every pro wrestling site, but I pick and choose. Evan, you're at the top of my list. You're always good to me, my clients, everyone. But I mean, but I'm realistic. I mean, the stuff that WWE gets is as good as any movie studio I've worked with, any company. They're absolutely amazing. And this Brock re-signing is a huge PR coup for them, especially going into WrestleMania when there have been a few people who haven't had the greatest expectations. I'm just going by what I've read and what everyone has read. Now, as you'll see on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere else, and I hate this cliche almost more than anything, this is an absolute game changer because, as you said previously, now anything could happen. There could be a turn. There could not be a turn. There could be all kinds of things. Plus, whatever the case may be, this is giving WWE yet even more mainstream publicity. Now, all the sports, the sports stations and newscasts and everything else that don't typically or wouldn't typically cover pro wrestling, now they will because it's also a UFC story. So this is positive all the way around. I mean, you have this, you have Sting the first time at WrestleMania, which is gigantic. So this went from what it was to something that it could be something absolutely fantastic. So good on WWE. I think Brock could have been the best UFC champion ever. I mean, I have my opinion. I think he was kind of rushed through. I think he needed maybe another year or two of training, submission stuff. I think if that would have happened, plus his illness really set him back, and maybe that put it over the top where he couldn't do it anymore. I don't know. I'm not him, his doctors, or anything else. I think with more training, if his illness wouldn't have been a factor, I think he could have been the best ever because wrestling, size, everything, he had it, and I think he had it better than anyone else.
Right.
But again, that's just my opinion, and probably means nothing.
That's fine. And it's a Game Boy?
Well, I want to ask you, with everything coming to a head and WrestleMania pretty much in full steam, and with them making this big move with, Brock and everything, the fans right now are still kind of limbo. What else do you think that the WWE could possibly do to pretty much seal the deal right about now? If you were involved on the team, if you were working with WWE, what do you think could be a grand slam move for them to try with days coming of WrestleMania?
Well, I think they've already done it. I think the grand slam was today. Before today, Paul Heyman pretty much almost single-handedly has sold it. Of course, Sting being there, I think I read that of all the wrestlers people want to see, he's the guy. So could they do anything more now? Perhaps Roman Reigns could give some interviews. I know he's got a lot of stuff coming up. I mean, what's today, Tuesday? Going on towards Sunday, there's going to be a lot more interviews. Now there's different talking points. So I think WWE can take advantage of these talking points with Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins also saying, okay, and somehow get him involved as the Money in the Bank briefcase holder. He now comes into play. Like you guys probably talk about, people are talking about on Facebook and Twitter. Again, this turns into, okay, now does Heyman turn? Does the Shield reunite? So many more things can happen. I don't necessarily see this as an absolute that Brock will win. Who knows? I mean, they have a writing team, they have heads of creative, they have all kinds of things, and they have long-term plans now. Did he sign yesterday? Okay, he said he signed. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Maybe this has been in the works and they're all working through. It's no coincidence that this was announced and this happened right before WrestleMania. Maybe that's when the contracts work, and that's fine. But I see all of this as a positive, and in all the interviews now, that's going to be a main talking point, and that will really get things going. And then each character involved in WrestleMania can now talk about how their puzzle piece fits into this, and also how they're going to steal the show. I look at the card, and I'm thinking there are guys and girls there that are fan favorites and great workers, and to me they're kind of stuck in whatever a battle royal, or they're in a 5-man or 10-man or whatever thing. And I think if you really wanted to have a hit it out of the ballpark show, some of these folks would have been in singles or at the most tag team matches. But I don't criticize anything until it happens, because you never know what kind of plans they have. A lot of shows, as I'm sure you know, people didn't have great expectations going in, but they delivered. Conversely, people did have great expectations going in, and some shows didn't deliver. So I think it's only best to judge afterwards, and going by what we see, not everyone's own opinion. There are a lot of internet fans out there, and they're important, but they're a big minority. I'm not saying they should be ignored. They're very, very important, but I mean, look at the other wrestling shows out there. Look at the ratings that are drawn. Look at the live audience that's there. Look at the other wrestling companies. They don't draw 17,000 people. And those 17,000 people at Staples Center or any of the other arenas around the country, those are not all Internet fans. You've got to please a lot of people, and it's hard to do. So I think WWE does a good job. Do they intentionally troll Internet fans? Maybe not. Like the thing that happened with the Young Bucks. Are people looking into something that was there or not there? Who knows? But it keeps things interesting and keeps people talking.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you for that. Shinblade?
I may have to segue to a different subject matter. We were talking about wrestling, but I wanted to ask you, Marc, you represent countless wrestlers and maybe and some celebrities when it comes to your publicity. But what is your greatest acquisition that you think in mind that you ever received? Like what person? Or what was your toughest acquisition?
Well, they're all tough because a lot of people and companies don't understand how important it is, the power of advertising and also publicity. With talent, you're dealing with people who their company may or may not be getting interviews for them. Depending on what company they work for, they don't have a lot of money. A lot of times they may not be, very eager to speak with pro wrestling sites. Let's talk about that since it's a pro wrestling show, pro wrestling sites, because of experiences they've had or experiences that friends of theirs have had. It's a small world in the pro wrestling business, as you can imagine. And if they do whatever show and it doesn't come off well, they'll let people know. They'll let me know. Believe me, I've been told, please don't book me on XYZ show again because this, and this. And later on or at some point, I would love to give my input of why some people don't want to do it, what I think should happen, how it can be improved, if anyone's interested in that. But as far as acquisition, I'm very, very fortunate that I've always had the best at what they do. I have the best criminal defense attorney in Los Angeles. I've got him covered everywhere. Christopher Daniels, I'm sure you would agree, is one of the best wrestlers out there. Rob Schamberger, hope you would agree, the best or one of the best at what he does. Austin Aries, the same thing. Michael Kingston, for what he does as wrestling comic, look at everyone who wants to work and be part of that comic. So the people I've had. I had an independent film that was nominated for an NAACP Image Award for director. It was up against it had no theatrical distribution. It wasn't even on video yet. It was up against 12 Years a Slave, The Butler, and other big studio films. So I've been fortunate that I've had really great people. Sure, would I like more? There are a lot of wrestlers that I would love to have. WWE, I'm sure, has people locked up, and I don't even know if any of their people have personal PR people. But man, there are some great talents out there. There's the female, the males. Off the top of my head, I think Bobby Roode is one talent that is just. The second I saw him wrestle the first time, I thought this guy, as Jim Ross says, has it. That's one off the top of my head. There are several out there. EC3. I'm going with TNA people. obviously everyone knows the people at WWE, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler and all those folks. I mean, there are just so many that would be, dream clients of mine for sure, because people want to hear what they have to say. And what I do, again, like I said, it's not that hard getting known names on pro wrestling shows, and that's great. I think it's super important to do because, hey, that's your audience. Those are the people who are paying to see you and watching you on TV. But what I offer and what I try to sell is I'm going to try to get you mainstream coverage. I want people to know what else you're into. Like Christopher Daniels, he's huge into comic books. He's an aficionado. He's a collector. He's written his own comics. So I've got him covered in USA Today, ESPN, Entertainment Weekly, covering his comic book stuff. Austin Aries with his plant-based lifestyle. I've gotten him covered on those types of things. So that's what I am proud to be able to do. Let mainstream press or other non-wrestling fans know about these men and women, so it will in turn, wow, I want to watch him or her, see what this person does. Or really, there's a vegan pro wrestler? Yeah, there is. And this is what he can do. And wow, there's a guy, a pro wrestler, who could actually talk the comic book talk. I mean, I've sat in a room with Chris on a comic book podcast, and he could go toe-to-toe with anybody about every character from every comic and everything. So that's what I like to do. Get people outside of the world of pro wrestling to know about these men and women and what they do. I do that with all of my clients. I want to know about them, what they like to do, what their hobbies are, all these kinds of things, because I'm telling you, there are magazines and newspapers and podcasts about every subject out there, so I try to get my people covered.
Right. And that is good. It's great that you do a great job of that, too.
Thank you.
So do you have anything to add? A question for Mark?
Yeah, I have a question for Mark. Is there a limit to how many clients you can have at a time?
I can only speak personally, and I never bite off more than I can chew, and I don't take a client that I don't feel I could get anything for. And believe me, I could use another client or two, but I do all of the work. I work out of a home office, but I have the same tools that if I had my name on top of a 70-floor building, it would be the same thing. There would be more offices and more people kind of like me there, but I do all the work. I mean, as Evan and everyone could attest to, emails are coming from me. Phone calls are coming from me and to me. When I'm talking to the clients, it's me. So I make sure every client is getting what they're paying for and what they deserve. I've had people contact me, and I turn them down because it might be something I can't get into, but mostly I don't feel there's anything I can do for them. As you can imagine, I live here in the Los Angeles area, so there's a million musicians and actors and actresses and everyone that are coming out here to seek fame and fortune, and I'm sure a number of them will get that. But right off the bat, I ask them, do you have any paying gigs, or where could your stuff be seen, heard, anything like that? Do you have a movie out? Do you have a TV series that you're in? Are you going to be on anything? And that's not me gauging their talent. It's me thinking, how am I going to pitch this to the press? What makes this person unique? Yeah, it's unique because we're going to promote their appearance on such and such, or they're going to be in a film that's in the movie theater or something. If it's someone who's come out here and they've done community theater in Minneapolis and now they're here in Los Angeles, well, that's fantastic, and they could have all the talent in the world, and they might be the next Brad Pitt. but they're not that now. And unless they have something to present to me that makes them unique, I don't want to take their money. I've worked for people who will take anyone's money, who will make all kinds of promises. I've sat in those meetings rolling my eyes and thinking to myself, when I have my own company, I will never do this, because I have to look at myself in the mirror and think that I just do the right thing. So all of my clients have stuff going on, and they feel like they're getting their money's worth from me.
I want to ask too, thank you for that too, Mark. I want to ask too that you being a publicist, why don't, and I know you said that you want to shed some light on this, explain how people do, a lot of people tend to do radio shows or podcasts wrong, or do TV shows wrong, and you told me before off air about how some people just don't get it. They do it wrong, or they tend to get mad at you or other publicists that won't provide them with their clientele to be on their shows. So if you can let us know why people do it wrong, and what a lot of the mistakes that you see being done.
All right, and this doesn't necessarily have to do just with pro wrestling sites or sports sites or whatever. It's in general, but since that's what I deal with a lot, and well, since that's what I deal with a lot, that's what I'll kind of focus on. Getting a podcast is just basically getting the equipment and signing up, and I don't know what the cost is just to get in, but it's probably not super high, not like the old days of you had to actually work at or buy a radio station, where that was probably a lot more expensive than what it takes to put a podcast together, good, bad, or indifferent. I think one of the biggest things is people need to be the hosts, the people in charge of the show need to be prepared. I have found people who are absolutely not prepared. I think they need to be prepared with more questions than they think that they will ever need. They have to keep in mind this talent, and not that they're special, but they're a human being. This talent, this person is giving up their time where they've been traveling all over the world. They're now away from their families. This is an hour or half an hour, whatever, that they're now devoting to you. And they're giving you that respect, so it has to be given back in return. So they have to be prepared. I know this is going to sound weird, but test the equipment, make sure it's working, because if it doesn't work, chances are the talent won't want to do it again. Also, what's kind of sets people apart is ask questions that talent hasn't been asked a billion times before. It's probably okay to ask, how did you get your start? But once that's done and brief, I mean, there are interviews where I can do them for the talent, because they've been asked the question so many times, I know the answer. Where did you get your start? What's your most famous match? What happened with this? How do you feel about this? Like, come up with something interesting. Now, that doesn't mean controversial, so that's another thing. This isn't 60 Minutes. Don't try to be controversial or try to get a scoop unless I would come to you and say, hey, I've got Brock Lesnar, and he wants to break the story to you, whether he's going to stay at WWE or UFC. Otherwise, don't ask, because you know they're not going to tell you. Also, don't try to get them to talk shit about their present company. It's unprofessional, and they're not going to do it if they have a brain in their head. So why hosts even do it is absolutely beyond me. I mean, if there's something obviously that happened in the news or in a match, or if you read it or saw it on a mainstream site or something, maybe bring it up and let the talent answer it, and that's it. Don't keep digging and digging and digging, because There's really no reason for it. It's going to make people uncomfortable, and that is going to get out to every one of that talent's friends, and no one will want to do your show. So just be respectful. I mean, not pretend. You are a journalist. I treat, whether it's your show, Evan, or another show, or Associated Press, I treat you all the same. So I expect the same kind of professionalism from everybody. So, and of course, hosts are fans. Shoot, wrestlers, most of them, or many of them, were fans. And of course, sports reporters, more than likely, were fans unless they got thrown into it. So it's okay for a pro wrestling site or podcast for the hosts and producers and everyone to be fans. That's expected. But I don't think it's a good idea to come off as gushing. I don't think it's a great idea to agree. There's no reason to come off as gushing. There's no reason to agree with everything the wrestler says. I mean, you don't have to be, again, controversial for no reason, but you kind of listen and go on to the next question. One thing, a couple of my people and people who I've talked to, like in locker rooms and other things that I may not have represented, some people don't like to do the shows because the hosts and people, they come off as experts as if they've done it. Most have never done it. So what they tell me is it's okay for the host not to like something, because we all have opinions. A lot of things are subjective. I don't like his promo. I don't like her whatever. But to say they did this badly, they botched this, they did this, if you've never done it, if you've never been in the ring, then you can't credibly criticize someone's work because you've never done it. You haven't been in there. You don't know what it takes. You don't know the reasons. There's all kinds of things going on. And I've had many people tell me, look, I don't want to do so-and-so show because they come off like they know everything, like they do know the business. Heck, I don't know the business. I know, I'm sure, a zillion times less than pro wrestling sites and writers and everything like that. So it's best to report, ask the questions, but don't try to come off as an expert. Mutual respect is really important. And if you're asking a talent, I mean, could you believe what so-and-so did? Like, how bad is that? I mean, you're putting that talent in a position that they should not be put into.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you much for that question. Thank you much for answering that question for us, too.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Break it down.
Shin?
Mark, last weekend there was an accident, as you know of, in the ring. And you were talking about so much about the so-called experts, quote-unquote experts that think they know everything about wrestling. And I'm here to say that Tech, NC Game Boy, and myself, the Sensational One, we know a lot, but we don't know everything in wrestling. And there are people out there who are pretentious pricks who think they know the ins and outs of everything in wrestling. They haven't even stepped foot in the arena, let alone the ring.
Right.
Can you give us your take about this accident and your perspective on what people mindset are, blaming Rey Mysterio?
I've heard he's been blamed, and I have read several pro wrestling journalists saying he should not be. All I know is what I saw. I mean, I watched it just so I know what people are talking about. It was tragic. I mean, for the families involved, for the wrestlers that were in the ring, everyone's going to have to keep that memory with them, and it's absolutely horrible for anyone to comment on it, even as as the gentleman's head was moved afterwards. You don't know, you weren't there. You're looking at it from a video. What's going on in Mexico? There was some type of legal thing that could be just what's done as a matter of course in any event like that. I mean, from what I saw, there was nothing that Rey Mysterio did that would have caused anything. I mean, from what I saw was a drop kick that got his arm. He did a 619 that I don't even think it hit him. So how anyone could blame Mysterio is, from what I saw, is ridiculous.
Right.
As we've all read, it's a very, very dangerous business. I mean, it's tragic when anything happens, a death, an injury, anything. So everyone's a Monday morning quarterback. And, yeah, when you're online, there's a certain amount of anonymity, and you could act like an asshole. You could talk like an asshole. You could say all kinds of things. A lot of people want to be controversial and say this. And my take on it with all these people want to be controversial, look, we already have a Howard Stern. He's good at what he does. He's the best at what he does. Be your own person. Don't be the next Howard Stern, because you're going to be a bad copy of it. If all you want to do is say controversial things and try to be funny, you won't come off as funny. You're going to come off as being obnoxious and as knowing nothing. And even if people say, oh, could you believe what he said? Could you believe what she said? Well, that's not going to be a good thing, because again, you have to think about, okay, is someone going to want to talk to you later? It's like this person just shit on Rey Mysterio or just said bad things about this person and this person coming out of nowhere. Just report on the facts that you know, don't editorialize, and it makes it a lot better. I mean, yeah, you want to entertain and do things, and if your particular show is giving certain commentary, well, okay, you can give it, but have it at least based somewhat in fact and somewhat in truth, not just something made up or something that you heard or something that got passed down by 10 people and it's a bad game of telephone. Because again, I view all of you as journalists, and you expect me to act professionally, and I expect the same, and I think that's the expectation that everybody should have.
Well, Bobby Heenan had a saying, about what you said about Howard Stern. Mm-hmm. He had a saying about a great one, and somebody's coming up. He said, "Don't copy me. It won't. Not only it'll flatter me, but it'll ruin you." And I just took that for granted. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and everyone says, like, what? How do I get my character? Yeah, you could take a little of this, a little of that, and take some things that you like. It's like I told someone wanted to build a website. I said, okay, look at similar businesses and see what they're doing that you like, and maybe take some pieces. You could take some pieces. I mean, who wouldn't want to do a promo like Dusty Rhodes or Ric Flair or Paul Heyman, but you don't do it in their exact style? Who wouldn't want to be the technician of Ricky Steamboat or, I don't know, a million others? So yeah, you could aim to be good at it and kind of do something similar, but if you go to copy and try to do the same thing, people are going to know it, and it's just going to come off. It's going to look bad. So anyone who's blaming anyone for this, there's no facts out there. There's nothing concrete about it. It's maybe similar in some ways, and people are talking about AJ Styles and Styles Clash. Oh, he shouldn't do it because he botches that. He does this. Do some wrestlers take it wrong? Maybe. Some wrestlers have no problem doing it. So where is the issue? And as someone who's not a wrestler, I don't think that person has any credibility going out there and criticizing it or saying he shouldn't do it anymore. If he hurts a wrestler and that wrestler comes out and say, look, I have taken Styles Clash before, I took it exactly the way I was supposed to take it, the way everyone takes it, and I still got hurt doing it. That person has some credibility. But a lot of times if you look at some things and if you take a move wrong, or sometimes the move doesn't go right and someone gets hurt, and that's absolutely horrible.
That is true.
Wow.
Never do like that. And like I said, I do agree with that too. You being a publicist, I'm sure your work gets posted all around the world. What are your thoughts on, as you course in media, how when you send your material to websites, to companies, to businesses, not mentioning names, and once they get it, they tend to switch it around a little bit or make it a little more appealing. You know how the press is. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm like, specifically, mean if I was pitching press, let's say in Germany, as opposed to the United States, or
right?
What do you mean specifically?
Just meaning that you post your material out to websites, and then websites tend to focus on the negative, like you said, or try to make things controversial. Try to be very controversial. What's your thoughts on that? Because how the press tend to switch up words and try to add meanings or try to put words in your mouth at times. What's your thoughts on that? There
are certain outlets that I would prefer not to work with because they're very mean-spirited. They are, again, going for shock value. They get a lot of views. They get a lot of readers. They get a lot of audience. But there's a lot of things out there that are very popular that aren't necessarily good. You have to balance. I have to balance that. If a client comes to me and says, I want this particular site or this particular thing to interview me, then I'll do it. Will I go to them first? No. But to answer your question in terms of sites and places that will twist the words, I've learned the hard way in the years that I've done this, and I try to tell my clients, don't say anything that can be, quote, taken out of context. There are a lot of events that happen when people do bad things, actual bad things, and say bad things, and they claim it's been taken out of context, and of course it has not. But that being said, I tell my clients, don't say something where they could pull a word or two or a phrase and turn it on you. Just be positive. Say something positive. Because like when I'm sending pictures, the same thing. I tell my clients, give me 6, 8, 10 photos, but make it where if an outlet ran only one of these, I want any one of them to represent your movie or your talent or yourself. No better or worse than any other one. Because yeah, a lot of outlets will try to make you look bad or try to make it funny or try to make something. I mean, I had a client, they were great. Again, the best at what they are. They were the largest company auctioning Hollywood memorabilia. I mean, everything you could imagine from every popular movie. And I had told, and as you can imagine, some collectors, some people might think are a little wacky if they collect certain sci-fi, horror, fantasy things. But I would be very specific with the press, and I would say you can have fun with it, but don't make fun of it. And my personality, again, for better or for worse, I don't forget. If someone screws over or does something bad to me or a client, I don't forget. And chances are that person will never get they'll never get a second chance. Oh, wait, say that again?
Big Daddy shirt.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll call Pro Wrestling Tees to have a shirt made. But yeah, I mean that's how I feel, because I joke around all the time, and probably too much for some people. But when it comes to that, I mean, this is their business, like pro wrestling. This is their business. You want to say bad things about it, you want to do this and that, you know what? Then we shouldn't do this. I had some wrestlers at a TNA pay-per-view in San Diego, and a good press contact of mine, I set up, and it was a mainstream outlet, I set up something that we could possibly do. And once I got more and more into what this could be, I got a vibe, and not intentionally, but just kind of the stuff that he does could make my guys look bad or make wrestling look bad. And I made the call, you know what, we probably shouldn't do this because it might cast them in a bad light. Now, I'm not one of those publicists that has to micromanage everything, but in the big picture, I really didn't think this would come off well, and I didn't want to stand over them and tell them exactly what to do here and here and here and here and here, like other publicists would do. I just decided, you know what, maybe we'll do something another time. This piece you have in mind probably wouldn't be right.
We do thank you much. We do thank you much for that and for answering all of those questions. And we are honored to have you on the show. And so people can get to see the
I'm
other
honored
side
that someone even cared to hear anything anything that I had to say. I mean, I love doing what I'm doing. I love representing pro wrestlers. I mean, I've seen companies where these men and women aren't getting the press that they should. I mean, again, we were talking about WWE. I mean, how good they are, what they do. Jim Barcelona, as you may know, from Miami Herald, he put out a big thing about what WWE is doing for WrestleMania weekend. And there is a ton of community outreach. They're helping different organizations, doing all kinds of things. That's different than, let's say, some other pro wrestling companies. I mean, there are things that just, to me, and I hope I don't get into too much trouble, but if I do, I could handle it, is a no-brainer. Maybe not a no-brainer, but it does take some work. But it's really, really important. If you want to get those 17,000 people or even 5,000 people, there's certain work you got to do. You got to get your people out there to the press. You've got to do community outreach. You've got to let more than your small, as great as it is, core fan base, you've got to let more people know about it. You've got to give people a reason to take their kids. And, I mean, you look at the different TV and you look at who's in the audience, you'll see a difference.
Right. That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
And real quick, Mark, before we let you go, what's the one match that you're looking forward to see on Sunday at WrestleMania?
Probably. I mean, who doesn't want to see Seth Rollins wrestle? Who doesn't want to see Dean Ambrose and Ziggler and all these folks? But being kind of a older guy, seeing Sting, and believe me, when I keep hearing the rumbles of Sting going to the WWE, I think, man, can't there just be one person that didn't do it? Because, I mean, I've always been a huge fan of his. I mean, I was a WCW guy. I wasn't a WWE guy for a long time. I lived in a small town called Liberal, Kansas, and when and cable was just starting, and we got WTBS, and I saw those guys. I mean, I grew up in Chicago, and I'm going to show my age, but I watched Dick the Bruiser, and I watched The Crusher, and I watched Vern Gandhi was the champion, and Bobby Heenan was managing Angelo Poffo. That's Macho Man's father. And Blackjack Lanza, Blackjack Mulligan. That's how back that was. Then, whatever, time. Then I watched it more. Again, WTBS, saw Sting, saw all of those guys, kept up with his career, watched WWE a lot. And I thought, okay, maybe we don't get Sting in WWE, but that's emotionally. Realistically, being a father, knowing that I've got a mortgage, knowing I've got kids, knowing you got bills, knowing I got stuff, you know what? I can't spend his money for him. People have mortgages, they have families to feed, they have this. When it comes to the point of what's the right business decision, what's the right decision for my family and me, I think it's absolutely great that someone of his stature is being recognized by the biggest company and getting what's due. I would assume next year at some point he's going to go into the Hall of Fame. I mean, he is up there. I mean, the fact that he got the pop that he got from people who probably many who have never seen him wrestle, kids for sure. I would say anyone under, unless you're a hardcore fan, probably no one under 15, 20, hardly anyone. Few people have seen him, definitely in his heyday, but the fact that he got the pop that he got, I think it's fantastic. So I'm looking forward to seeing him, and he's good. Triple H always puts on a good match when it's important. Sting will put on a good match when it's important. I'm looking forward to that. And now that Brock committed, anything could happen. It's a complete wild card. There's so many things that could happen. So it's going to be fun. I wish Sarah Del Rey would get out of training and wrestle. That could be something fun.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anything. But that I don't think that would ever happen. I've never heard it could happen. I assume there's a reason. I sure don't know what good reason there would be. But they've got great talent. I mean, I was watching. I'm showing my kids and stuff like that person's good and that. I mean, they have a great roster. TNA has a great roster. Ring of Honor, they have a great roster. So there's great talent out there. I think it's booking issues. 3 hours is tough to entertain people. So I think it's going to be. I think there's going to be some great surprises. So at least that's what I'm hoping for. I'm having a little WrestleMania party at my house. Never done it before. It's for me. I suggested a press person that I know. He's actually a film critic and does other things. Turns out he's a big wrestling fan. I discovered that when TNA was doing their show at Comic-Con. I discovered he was also a wrestling fan. So so we're having a little WrestleMania party here.
Good.
I hope you enjoyed it.
We do hope you enjoy it. Mark, anything that you want to plug or promote before we let you go?
I just want to promote my, I'm saying guys because I don't have any female wrestlers yet, but whoever you know, tell them to come to me. Again, Rob Schamberger. It's robschamberger.com. He's on Facebook. He's on Twitter. He's on Instagram. If you're going to WrestleMania, definitely go by Access. You could talk to him. You could say hi. You could watch him paint, take pictures. He's got a book out that WWE is publishing of all of his WrestleMania paintings. I'm sure he'd be happy to sign it for you if you ask him nicely, or at least let him know that I told him to do it. I know Christopher Daniels and Austin Aries are going to be in town doing different shows and different parties, so go there, say hi, tell them I sent you. and just keep watching it and enjoying it, and everything by guys and hopefully some women do. I'll be sending it out and letting everyone know about and helping to build their brand, helping to build their recognition, and also what's important, helping the pro wrestling sites and podcasts and things, because I feel it's a mutual thing. We need and want each other to succeed, and that's what I hope for.
All right. Well, Marc Kruskol, thank you much for coming on Under the Mat Radio.
Yes,
me and you definitely be talking off air soon. Thank you.
All right, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Take care.
It was. It was a pleasure for us too. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Everybody, that was world-renowned publicist Marc Kruskol, who just joined us on Under the Mat Radio. We do have
I'm going to
announcement
have you talk to him off air, Tech, and get some of that information so while I'm out in Cali, I can check out some of those spots, try to do some interviews and stuff.
Well, also maybe, the sensational one looking for a publicist as well. So, just throwing it out there.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
It is.
Really?
Sorry, allergy season.
Yeah,
we do apologize, fans.
This
a little dust, or pollen, or allergens. Real quick, I just want to make
also,
this.
I was doing that.
Oh, yeah. Just want to make this quick with you. I just want to make Craig's announcement. Don't forget tomorrow, special time, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
We have the great show, the great debate, Triple H versus Sting, who had the best career, with Pro Wrestling Report's co-host, our good buddy David Hero, of course, with NSC Game Boy, with Tech, with Shin Blade, with Toph, will be joining us as well. So please don't forget about that show tomorrow. Breaking news, Jim Ross, the great Jim Ross, good old JR, will be here in Baltimore May 16th at Rams Head Live. It's entitled Ringside, an Evening with Jim Ross. I talked to Jim Ross earlier today, currently negotiating some work with him. So Under the Mats Radio, we'll be having exclusive footage and work with him while he's here in town on May 16th at Rams Head in Baltimore, Maryland. Any ideas you want for us, tickets, information, go to ramsheadlive.com. That's ramsheadlive.com. All one word. We will post the link and information up on the like page and the promotion page. More details about our exclusive work with Jim Ross will be coming up momentarily. So NSC Game Boy, next time we talk to you. Next week, also fans, next week, March 31st, we will have current Ring of Honor superstar, former WWE superstar, Matt Sydal, better known as Evan Bourne, will be joining Under the Mats Radio next week. The episode will be entitled Air Sydal. So please don't forget about that. Real quick, NSC Game Boy, you will be at WrestleMania. About 1 minute
ladies
left.
And gentlemen,
please
once again, the boy will be at WrestleMania. I'm going to be sending footage all week as much as I can, about access, meeting with wrestlers, going to different events and stuff. Be letting the sensational one and Tech on board so they can put it up on the Under the Mat page. So fans, make sure y'all stay tuned. Make sure you hit us all up on Twitter. You know our names. Of course, Tech_UTMR, the sensational one, and of course myself, NSC Game Boy, spelled correctly. So I'm gonna have much stuff to put out there, and if you got any questions or something, if I can get to it, I got you. It is what it is.
Yes, it is.
Well, I will say also that.
Hold on, Shan. Not to cut you off. Toph?
Yeah, good show, guys. Good show, guys. I'll see you guys at the debate tomorrow.
Yes.
No problem.
Thank you, Shan.
Thank you, Toph.
Did you sign off?
Peace and condoms and all that.
Oh, God.
Thanks, Toph. All right, Shan, quickly.
Well, also with NSC Game Boy, when he gets his videos, maybe I'll piece them together and put it as a special episode of the road trip starring NSC Game Boy and company.
All right.
Well, thank everybody who was called in. All those that are listening, thank you, Marc Kruskol, for calling in, being a great guest. Thank you all for all the Under the Mat Radio text, tweets, all the retweets, all the thumbs, or what have you. We will talk to you all tomorrow night, 6 to 8 p.m. for the debate, Triple H versus Sting. And everybody enjoy WrestleMania 31 this Sunday. This is Tech, NSC Game Boy.
Yeah.
The sensational one, Shin Blade.
Shy hand.
Sign off.
And the crowd goes, amen.
Okay.